Carrying right on. Meeting Beanie Sigel Part 2. Rap related. Where fans become fantastic. Where if you love rap, you are my relative. You know what I mean? Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'm giving you the real. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of people out there that's going to just give you the straight up honest real. You know what I mean? And like I said, ask around. The stories I tell you, you getting it from the horse's mouth. All the myths, the stories you heard going around, you getting it. You're getting all the truth, and you're getting it uncut. You're getting it with no fluff on it. You feel me? All right, well, let's get into Beanie Sigel. The second time I met up with Beanie Sigel. Was it this, man? Well, I don't. What's the second, third? You know, I'm getting old, man. I do know. Let's go into the night that now Beanie Sigel's deal is on is set up with Rockefeller now. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. That's when, and Most Wanted, their deal was on the table with the Neptune and Atlantic. Okay, That Just Made deal was on the table with Entertainment. That's when I got the call. My man told me, you know, Sneak told me that he's like, yo, Steve, you know, Dana Black was telling Steve, like, yo, you gotta let them hear the big ball. And he's like, yo, Steve wants you to come up 56th Street on this, like, it was like a Friday night, to be heard by Dave Bull from Jive coming down, Dave Lighty, Bull from Jive Records. He wants you to come up, want them to hear you. You know what I mean? So that was the night that me and Bob went up there, and I told that story already where before Dave Lighty arrived at 56th Street in the crib, mind you, everybody was there. You know, we were deep that night. You had Montana, Bubonic, Mr. Man, Big Po, Boppa, Beanie Sigel, Stevie G, a couple other people. And and Rashid Arnold, Newt was came up there with me and Bop that night because he heard what was about to go down. So like I said, we was waiting on Dave Lighty to get there. Everybody just doing some raps in circles or whatever. And then I go out to go get a fruit punch, get something to eat real quick from the Chinese store down the street because I was hungry. And I remember that's when I told you the story about Newt was telling me like, yo, nah, but you know what though, Po? You know, mind you, we were just doing some light sparring around in a circle before the ball got there because I was really saving myself to impress this guy. So Newt was like, nah, but I don't feel as though they respect you, Po. Like, I'm paying attention to the other rappers, and I don't know, man. I think you're going to have to make them respect you or whatever. So Newt gets me hype. I'm like, yeah, I was just taking it light, you know, waiting for Dave Lighty. Like, yeah, I know, man, but nah, I just feel as though they ain't respecting you, Po. I feel as though you need to make them respect you. So long story short, when Dave Lighty gets there, I'm like, yo, I'm going to make this whole room respect me. So everybody's in the house. Already told the story. Me and Bop do a couple joints, and then I go into my solo joints. Dave Lighty sitting there trying to be stone faced. Shout out to Dave Lighty of Jive Records. You know, I'm like, yo, this is my dream right here in front of me. I'm about to blaze this boy. He's sitting there trying to be straight faced or whatever. Before you know it, man, I start getting into my zone. Then I pulled out my newest joint, Chicka Chicka. I went into that joint, man, and the whole room exploded. I'm talking about, I got the reaction I needed out of every rapper in that room. Every rapper. They were rolling, they were all rolling around on the floor, Beanie Sigel grabbing each other, going crazy, laughing. Steve, the guy, Dave Lighty's ready to fall out of his chair. Everybody's like, whoa, he's looking around like, what is this? This is something I've never seen before. And I just blazed it, man. I felt like, yo, give me the rock. It's Jordan in the clutch. It's Kobe, Mamba mentality. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, I'm going to seal this deal. You feel me? That's one thing I'm going to do. So I blazed it, man. From that day on, from that Friday, he wanted me up in New York that Monday. So now that Monday comes, and me, Beanie Sigel, Murder Mill, Ike, Stevie G, heading to New York. So let's get into that trip now. We heading up to Jive Records. So now for them to hear me at the office. So we riding up there. I think I remember, were we blowing any smoke on the way up? Because I normally don't smoke before I'm going to rap. But I know I had some bud because I remember us getting pulled over. Ike was driving. Steve, I think, was in the back seat. I was in the passenger seat. And Ike was driving. But I remember having to stuff some weed. I'm like, shoot. I remember having to stuff like 7 bags of weed in my boot, my Timberland boot. I had to talk, the Thames, tucked it down in that joint because I ain't want to throw it away. I'm just like, the cops behind us. I'm like, let's play it smooth. Steve, slick talked them, whatever, let them know, no, it's all well, blah, blah, blah. I just got him driving. This is my vehicle, whatever. So I think the guy might have wrote him a ticket. I think he might have given him a pass. So we keep on heading on to New York. So we get up to New York. I ain't have to get searched, thank God. We get up to New York, and I blaze him that job. But mind you, the time was just thorough. This was my first time meeting Murder Mill. So I heard Murder Mill on a CD. Him and Bean had a song, Ike Mill and Beans. And Dark Fade with the Mini Sooner. I remember that line Mill was nice. Murder Mill, whose deal was on the table with Jive. Actually, his deal was the one they accepted with Jive Records. Steve accepted his deal and turned my deal down. Turned them down, didn't accept my deal that they offered for me. But he accepted the one for Mill. But Mill's deal was already in the works before I met Dave Lighty. So now we're coming up New York. So it was wonderful because I'm like getting to see how those inner offices work. I'm like hearing them ask like stuff like to Murder Mill, who would he like on a feature? I forget who he said. And at that time, I think I heard them saying, I think they was like, yeah, Master P for his artist, he's charging people like for a verse like 70 grand, was it? Something, I forget at that time. I'm not exactly sure. But like I said, it was a long time ago. But Murder Mill was just, of course, I think he was saying this was way back then. I think R. Kelly was on Drive, so he was like definitely. I think he was saying he was going to do a joint with R. Kelly, but I'm not sure. This was way back then. This was before R. Kelly was known for being all that stuff he's known for now. But he was an amazing artist back then. This is when you wasn't hearing about him messing with little kids and all that. Not back then, or at least that wasn't the focal point. But yeah, Mill. I just remember Mill. I remember thinking about doing a joint like, yo, R. Kelly was the king of R&B. It was like, yo, you talking 20 years ago. I was definitely like, yo, I get signed to Jive. I definitely got to have a joint with R. Kelly as time goes on. But I wasn't really thinking about that too hard. But I just was in there, kicking it with Beans. Let's focus on Beans. So I never forget blazing the Jive office that day and them wanting me there. The first place we stopped was Jive. They heard me, they wanted me, so now that deal was now on the table. They was like, Dave Lighty was already telling them about in Philly, so that deal was on the table. But now I remember the talk with Beans. I remember Beans. I never forget. I was like, wow, yeah, the respect is there. I remember him saying like, yo, Poe, like, mind you, he was 24, I was 20, so he was just talking to me as a seasoned, vet. He was just like, you know what, man, yo, Poe, like, it's so awesome because he's like, yo, there's some things I could teach you. And there's some things you could teach me. You know what I mean? Like how you tell your stories, like how you do your narration, how your storytelling ability. He was like, I'll never forget that. That meant the world to me. I'm sitting there like, yeah. Because what he was trying to teach me was like my breath control. He was telling me like sometimes I get so wound up. I was going in young and hungry and raw. He was like, to like calm down. Like sometimes he didn't want me like to chase the beat. You know what I'm talking about? He was like, just to calm down. With me being a big guy, to be able to calm down and have my when it where it needs to be, so I could be a little bit more in control of the beat. You know what I'm saying? That's what he was talking to me about. But he was saying that I could teach him something about, like my storytelling ability. Dude, at that time my heart is like boom, boom. Just hearing him say that, I'm like, yo, Beanie Sigel, dog. Yo, listen. Beanie Sigel is one of the best rappers in the world. And so am I. But Beanie Sigel, dog, listen. If I'm gonna, like I said, if I'm going to run into somebody greater, if somebody is going to be better, you know what I mean? And I would say in that lane of hardcore toe-to-toe street rap, Beanie Sigel was better. Because you heard him say there's other areas where I believe I was better. And, with my versatility, I could do a lot of things. But if I'm going to lose to somebody, I'll let it be Beanie Sigel. You talk about the same guy who went on and gave Jadakiss that work. You talk about a guy that even had Jay-Z's eyebrows raised. Jay-Z started having to step his game up. No disrespect to Hove, but when Beanie Sigel got there, I remember that. I remember certain things that Jay started doing that was like, ooh, he even tapped into a little bit of Sigel wordplay. Not like biting, but like borrowed it like as like, like iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? Like Beanie Sigel had that thing where a lot of his lines would end with the same word. Nigga, something, nigga. And then I remember Jay-Z coming out with a joint. I forget. I think it was on Lobster Shrimp. And he was like, something, I hate a something, something nigga. Something, something nigga. Something. It was something, but I was like, ooh. And everybody was buzzing in Philly and South Philly. Beanie Sigel was like, I would never ask that man nothing like that. You know what I mean? I would never disrespect Hov like that. But a lot of people in Siegel's circle was seeing that. Like, yo, come on, man. Put my mans out. Like, yo. You know what I mean? Like, yo, we hear a little bit of that Philly in you. You know, and Jay-Z flow, you know what I mean? But I mean, Jay-Z, you know, if he say a big verse, he only bigging up his brother. You know what I mean? But, yeah, if I'm going to be humbled by somebody or lose somebody, it was like, yo, why wouldn't I want it to be? That go to show you my tier, bro. I wasn't just getting outshined by anybody. You know what I mean? Back at that time, you know, me and Most Wanted, sometimes I would outshine them, sometimes they'd outshine me. Gotta be somebody at that level, you know what I mean? There's got to be a level to it. There's levels to this thing, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I was used to being the best until meeting him. So mind you, though, so we're in New York, and just to hear him say that, man, my heart is like, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? My heart, I'm feeling good. I'm like, wow. I'm feeling good with the deal on the table. And also, I got to hear me and Mill spit in the office. And I was laughing. Mill liked my stuff. I liked his. It was a mutual respect there. My man, Murder Mill. And it was just a wonderful day. We went on from there to, man, I think they ended up ordering some Chinese food or something. Ate some Chinese food at the office when we was chilling or whatever, I think. Then we went on to, and which is so funny, is this is way back then. Destiny Child was just coming out. This is back when he was with Wyclef. They had just came out. They were young. They were like the new girl group, you know what I mean? And everybody was in there saying with different girl, yo, I like that one. I like that one. Was saying the girls they like or whatever. This is way back, man. I remember those times. That was really funny to me. So from there, we went to Def Jam Violator, of course, where I met Chris Lighty and Dave Lighty's. Chris Lighty wanted me at Def Jam Violator. He was dealing with Mike Son and Busta Rhymes, but at that time, I'd already been to the job office. Dave Lighty was like, "No, you can't get him, man. Rest in peace, Chris Lighty." But Dave Lighty, his brother, was like, "No, I already took him to the job. Like, yeah, we got him. We got a vision for him. We got some stuff that he could do in the South Market, and you know what I mean." We got a vision for him. Like, no, we got him. We keeping him too. You know what I mean? We want him. So, because Chris Lighty was on it. Like, yo, I'm on it. And so I remember Sigel saying some good things there to Chris Lighty about me. I mean, yeah, to Chris Lighty about me at Violator. And that was also who popped in the room. I didn't tell it on the initial story, but also when we was in the office and there with Chris Lighty, not only did Carmega pop in the room and show me a lot of love because he remembered me from what I did, the Source joint down in Philly. I remember this was the second time meeting Jay-Z. I'll get into the first time, but I remember seeing a hat look in the room in the eyes, and then it was Jay-Z. He came in. Everybody like, yo, and you know, Beanie Sigel already had the deal on the table with Jay-Z, so he just came in, like, what you doing up here, man? And then shook Bean hand, gave him a hug, shook Stevie G hand, and just shook my hand and everything. And I could see he remembered me, you know what I mean, recognized shook my hand was love. I was like, wow, man, this is crazy. New York, like I said, New York takes this thing as a business. It's a different feeling, bro, in New York, the Mecca, you know what I mean? So I'm like, wow, we up here, like, this is really happening, you know what I'm saying? We in Def Jam chilling with Chris Lighty. He was just talking about what he had going on, talking a little bit about my song, talking about, you know, what he had going on. And Beanie Sigel said some good stuff to him about me, but he had already heard me. He already wanted me. But that's where Beanie Sigel was saying that, like, me and my partner, me and Bop, when he met us, me and Bop, our styles are like night and day, how we contrast each other. You know what I mean? In a good way, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, also, that night ended, we left there. That night ended at Justin's, which is Puff's son's restaurant, with me getting wasted at Justin's, with me, you know, bumping into the people from the Source magazine at Justin's, them wanting me to stay in New York, but I had already came there with Beanie C, you know, with Stevie G and them, so I wasn't going to stay with them. They wanted to write me up. They were saying I didn't even have to go on to win the finals contest. Looking back at it now, I should just let them, like I said before, write me up in the magazine or took contact number and stayed in touch with them dudes. But I was young, and, you know, everything back then was just toward a deal, and it was like, look, things was looking like they were going in this direction, so that's where my focus was. I had already been blazing it down here all day for Job and Violator and everything. I'm like, yo, Source, I'm going to blaze y'all in January for the finals. So I'm like, I know I'm going to get the magazine right up, because that's how confident and I was in myself. You know what I mean? And mind you, I'm just getting better and better. But I remember before we went to Justin's that night, I remember Beanie Sigel Me and him, mind you, at this time he was afraid of heights. I don't know if he still is. We was on the balcony. I don't know if we was smoking weed, but we was at I think it was one of the offices, or it might have been at Dave Letty's spot because he had to stop home. But we were on like a balcony. Me and him, nighttime, just chilling, getting some air, stepping out from it all for a minute. And I was playing around on the edge. I'm wild. Playing around the edge. Sigel ready to go, Poe, stop, man. He going crazy. He bound you. He's on the balcony, but his back is already against the wall. He don't really do heights. I think we blow some smoke now. I think we were smoking some bud now. It's been a long day, We about to go to Justin's. Things was going well. He was like, but I never forget though, man, him telling me that it was some things he shared with me that was like deep stuff. That's why it was so wild. Like when I would hear bad stories about Beanie Sigel or people that didn't like this, I'm like, man, the Beanie Sigel I know. Maybe because I'm real good, I'm an easy guy to get along with or whatever. I'm like, man, the Beanie Sigel I know, man. I know. Real sincere dude, thorough dude, I didn't really understand some of the bad stories I was hearing about him, But that's neither here nor there. But I remember him sharing something to me. He was like, man, he was talking, let me know some things he's seen in my own circle. When he met me, he was like, yo, he was letting me know that he'd been through a lot of the same things that I was going through. And I remember him saying like, yo, certain people, he's like, yo, when I met you, whatever, he was like, yo, it seemed like certain people was more of your own circle. Certain people in your circle was like downing you, more than lifting you up. He's like, niggas should never do that. That shouldn't happen. But he was like, yeah, I've been through the same thing in my hood, But Poe, look, man, you see what's going on. Keep believing in yourself like you are. You're going to show people, But you just got to, you're just saying, be careful and be cautious, of what's going on around you. And I think that's real. And I really took heed to that. I was like, damn. I was like, wow. I've been peeped certain things. A lot of time people that be around you, when they're your friends, they try to down you sometimes they down you to make you get better or to make you step your game up. But then sometimes it's like, yo, you'll never down a person. Even if he lose a battle, you never down a person. That's your man. You ride with your dog to the end, Especially if your dog kept going out for the scratch. Meaning, when they say a scratch, that means when the dogs fight, they pull them apart, they let them go. Right? Regardless which dog is winning, they break them up and they see if the other dog that's losing is still game enough to go charge. And I was still game enough to charge. And I charged with my Chicka Chicka song, So when your dog's still willing to scratch and still willing to go, you got to ride with him, win, lose, or draw, But he just was sharing that with me, like, yo, nobody should talk, or don't acknowledge, like, if you lost, or, like, don't down you in the presence of other people. He was like, he peeped that his first day meeting me. He was like, yo, you're going to be special, though, But there's certain energy, you got to watch out for that's around you, I was like, wow. So that was deep stuff. Now, that was like a real moment he shared, It was a real moment. And I definitely agreed with him, I definitely agreed, It was I just was like, wow, this dude, that's fucked up. For somebody to be able to peep that from the outside, that quick. But Beanie Sigel, man, listen. Oh, okay, let's get into a couple quick pokes. I ain't gonna spend too many. I ain't gonna do another chapter on Beanie Sigel. We're gonna leave it here, but let's get into some of the pokes. One poke I think was like him nudging me was the bar. Of course, I shared before when he talked about Met J dropped on his album in a week without unsigned hype or battle with the beats. I had one unsigned hype in Philly, so I kind of was like, ooh, feeling some kind of way about that. But I wasn't quite sure if it was a poke or not. But if it was a little nudge, I was like, okay, you acknowledging that I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And also one of the nudges was, like I said, when he went on, the for certain nudge was when he went on and put that John, man, you cats should have never, I couldn't believe it. He said something, man, you cats should have never let this pit in the room. I said, oh, you gonna go back to that? On one of his songs, He used it. I was like, wow. It was all good. But like I said, inside, dog, I never want nobody else to be better. So I'm like, yo, I was working on my craft. Before I quit, my game had even elevated to another level, And it would have been nice to see what would have happened after a year had went by when me and him would have got back around each other and really went into a little sparring session just to feel the difference of my impact. You know what I'm saying? Me and Bop got better. Me and Bop went to deal with the Brothers Keeper joint. Everything elevated. Like I said, when you meet somebody greater, you become greater yourself. Is there anything else to cover? I went into the nudges. Oh, also, I want to also keep it real. The guy's a sincere guy with me. Beanie Sigel, shout out to you, bro. I remember, mind you, I stopped the rapping. I would always hear him always ask about me, man. Whenever he was in the hood, you would always bump into people. Yo, Sigel was asking about you. He was at the barbershop. Everybody was around, he would ask about me. Oh, also, when I was doing my gospel music, I remember a couple times, sometime Beanie Sigel, their session be before mine. They be in there, he be in there with Freeway. We was using the same engineer, so I come in, how's everybody? I was just on my focus, you know. You're a Philly dude, so you're not JoJo. Now you just like, gentlemen, you just say hi to everybody in there. And like I said, people didn't really know what was going on with me, so they showed me love, and then they just, you know, was respectful. It wasn't like we were just always busting it up where we left off at, because I was now a different person. I had got on my spiritual side, and it was like I said, some people thought like, yo, what happened to Poe? Like, was he slipped to Mickey? Like, he changed so much because I was so tired of the dope game and everything I was living in. So I changed the whole lifestyle. So I think people was like, dang. But I would hear like, when they would leave, when I would come in and do my session, yo, my engineer was like, yo, man, Sigel and Freeway, they were saying like, yo, you was a problem. Like, yo, they was like, yo, Big Poe was a problem. You know, him and Free just like talking to you, saying nothing. A couple of different times I heard nothing but good things, you know, being said about me. And I respect that, you know what I mean? And that's what happens when you keep coming for the scratch. You know, they paid that respect, you know what I mean? And that homage, you know, he was like, yo, they were just telling like, yo, Big Poe. And he was saying that they were talking, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, how nasty I was. Mind you, I went to high school with Freeway. I didn't know it until later on, but yeah, we used to rap together in high school and stuff like that. Yeah, hey man, subscribe to the channel. I got too much a wealth of stuff to give. Also, I remember a tough time. This was when Beanie Sigel's father was passing away. I was working at a hospital, man. You know, still walking with the Lord, but really still staying all the way away from that rap music, that style. And I remember Beanie Sigel seeing me coming through to visit his father, and I wasn't going to hold him out. He just seen me like, Paul, like, what up? See, we shook hands. He's like, yo, man. I'll never forget him looking at me like, yo, you all right? Like, yo. Like, you all right? This when he had the state property thing going on. I know that all right he was asking me meant like, yo, we got, like, you want to get with this state property thing. Like, I was welcome to do it. You know what I mean? I can tell you, like, yo, you all right, though? Like, yo, you good? Like, yo, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good, man. You know what I mean? At that time, I was so done with it, I didn't want to go that route. You know what I'm saying? I remember that, man. Plus, at the same time, I was just like, yo, I'm good, man. I knew, word had flew around the hospital. I knew that he was there. His father was on his deathbed. You know what I'm saying? I was working in that hospital. It was love. But his father was on his deathbed. It just wasn't the time for that. But that at that time, my mind, I was still like praying, you know. I'll never forget, man, after him asking me, it was like good, and me saying I was good, going in the bathroom and, man, just hurt just a moment, like, God, what's up, man? Like, yo. Like I said, I was holding myself back, like, yo, let it rip, man. You know what I mean? But I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stay away from that lifestyle. I'm staying away from all that. But now I'm older, I'm wiser. I know how to differentiate the two, man. You could rap without living that lifestyle. But back then, I was going cold turkey away from that lifestyle because I was living it, rapping it. It was just too much, you know what I'm saying? And it was, you know, the politics of it all, it was getting on my nerves. It just was too much drama. And I'm like, you know what? Now I'm living in peace. I'm going this way. This is the way I'm going to stay focused and go. Then I was happy. I started making my gospel raps and all that. But I do remember him extending that hand to me. He didn't say the words like, yo, you can come with state property. But the way he asked me was all right. He knew I knew what was going on. He knew that we knew each other, what we had going on and what he had going on. He had the state property. And he was like, yo, you all right? You good? If I could have said, yo, give me a number, yo, hook me up, blah, blah, that would have been easily done. Or put me on a state property, whatever, it would have been easily done. You know what I mean? Another dude I got a lot of respect and love for is Dutchy Man. Dutchy Man was so crushed when I stopped rapping, you know what I mean? I remember it was a time he wanted me to join the figures, you know what I mean? The major figures. Shout out to Dutch. We'll get to his story at another time, but that's my boy right there, man. Yo, your boy, rap related, Big Poe. Subscribe, you getting the real. Am I giving you the real? Are you not getting the real? Act like it then.